All right, so this is going to be a review of the new trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. I think it's trailer two. I barely do any trailer reviews. The last one I did was No Way Home, I think. Yeah, so I barely do these. So I guess maybe I really just had something to talk about with this one. So I liked Thor Ragnarok, right? That was also directed by Taika Waititi. He's doing this one as well, and so I kind of have hopes for it, high hopes for it. I'm not one of those, oh my god, it's the MCU or anything like that. I don't really care, right? If they want to focus more on female superheroes, okay, right? As long as they're interesting and they can make a good movie out of it or a good TV show. Most of them are going to TV. I mean, to the streaming. So this one starts off with Korg, I guess, telling the story of the space Viking Thor. It shows him hanging out with the Guardians. I will say that's my first point of disappointment. I'm one of those people after Endgame. I was thinking, you know what? Oof, you know, Thor Ragnarok and like the Guardians movies, they kind of have a similar like comedic tone. I kind of do want to see him go on an adventure with the Guardians. I don't know how much of that is going to be in this movie though. So I thought we were going to get a whole movie, a Guardians movie with Thor hanging out with the Guardians, and I thought that could be hilarious. Like obviously he's really powerful, and they're kind of a band of kind of misfits and things like that. So action wise, you kind of have to walk a tightrope to make sure that he can't just end everything and give them nothing to do. So I get that, but from a comedic sense, like it could be really fun and funny, but we're not going to get that, unfortunately. We're going to get a little bit of that in this movie, but I don't think we're probably going to get that much. So right off the bat, the visuals look really good. The only part of the trailer that doesn't look that great because it has like muted colors in that part. I guess that's part of it. They want each area to look different. I don't know the name of these areas. I haven't, read the comic book associated with this, so I'm going in completely blind when it comes to the actual story. But yeah, there's a part where I guess maybe they're in Earth. It's the part where he's talking to Jane and it has like muted colors. It doesn't look all that great. But for the most part, the visuals look really good, and that was one of the things I really liked about Thor Ragnarok. So that's a positive. He gets back in shape. He was fat in the Endgame, so he's getting back in shape. I figured they would get him back in shape for the newer movie. I know some people didn't like that. I thought the fat Thor stuff was fine, right? It made sense with everything that he had been through and the kind of guilt that he had felt over that 5 years. But whatever, he's back in shape. Eventually, I guess he leaves the Guardians to go do something, or I guess he's trying to find himself again. I guess he doesn't really have much of a purpose now. I guess. I don't know. I mean, he could rule Asgard, but he doesn't seem to want to do that. I mean, it seems like he never wanted to do that anyway. There was a big thing of, there's a big thing, I guess, within the fandom of people being like, why is Valkyrie called King Valkyrie instead of Queen? And my question would be, what does it fucking matter? She's ruling Asgard. I mean, I don't see why there's a difference there. But anyway, the thing that they're really selling the movie on, you finally get to see, Jane Foster Thor, and I'll talk more about that later. I have a lot to say about that, and I'll save that till the end. But she comes back. Mjolnir's gonna go to Thor, and then she gets it instead. How is it back together and all this? How'd she get it? I don't know. But there's a shot of him with the helmet. He's like, Jane. It's a ridiculous. It's almost like Raggy. It was ridiculous. So I was like, okay. And the helmet looks like it's CG'd on. It looks bad. It might not be CG, but it looks bad on his face. The helmet. But they're reunited, and you get to see a couple moments with her. Some cool action moments. I think there's one in particular where she like hits multiple people at once, which was kind of cool. So maybe at least we'll get some cool action stuff with Jane Foster. But like I said, I got more stuff to say about that. They're kind of making it more of a romance of them coming back together because they broke up, and that's why she hasn't been in these movies, I guess, and hasn't even been mentioned really since he said they broke up in Thor Ragnarok. But whatever. Like, we saw her a little bit in Endgame, but that was time travel shit. We get to see Russell Crowe. I think somebody said he was Zeus. I don't know. And he makes Thor. I guess Thor was in disguise. He makes his disguise go away, but then all his clothes fly off. And it's like a comedic moment, right? Which I actually did think was funny because not only were the women passing out, but the men were too. So that actually was a funny moment. There was people that were, for whatever reason, upset about that. Like, oh, well, if it was a woman, this would be sexism. Da, da, da. It's like, Okay, whatever. You know, there's two-way streets in the world. I get it, but you know, I saw it as just like a funny scene. Valkyrie is kind of just there. She's not really doing much. I actually don't even know why she's going on this journey with them and not just staying with the Asgardians on Earth. I don't know. And she doesn't really seem to be doing much. There is a part where she gets to fight the villain in this, and I thought that was kind of cool, but we'll see what happens with that one, with that character. Um, there's the new villain in this. I think his name is Gore the God Butcher. I don't know anything about him. Right off the bat, he seemed a little too similar to Ronan the Accuser for me, where he's really all about vengeance and he's really overly serious in a more comedic movie with comedic characters. So that I didn't really, and he has like the title, just like Ronan the Accuser has. So automatically, I was like, that may be a little bit more too similar. He's also got a bunch of makeup on his face and stuff like that. It's Christian Bale, great actor. I do like his line delivery in this. He does kind of come off as menacing. I will say the way he looks, though, right? He does give me a little bit of Voldemort from Harry Potter, but that character, at least, I like the visual style and the things that they're doing. With that character and with it being black and white and things like that, I do like that. So that should be interesting. Um, there's a shot where Jane Foster and Thor, I guess, are kind of holding hands. So I guess they, unless right afterwards she like, takes it away and it's like, this isn't happening. It does seem like they're kind of trying to make that romance happen again, which I guess I can go into my Jane Foster little mini rant at this point. So Jane Foster was not that great in Thor 1 and 2, and we haven't really seen her since then. She was really just a love interest. Kind of, yeah, she's a scientist and stuff like that, and she moves the plot along, but she was mostly a love interest, and she's a bad love interest. I never thought they had any chemistry at all, so, whatever. This is just a trailer. I've only seen two trailers, but even just with this trailer and seeing them interact, I don't really feel like there's much chemistry even still. And I can't really get invested in them getting back together when like you didn't really even show them breaking up or say why. It felt like they were writing her out of the series with that, where it's like, oh yeah, we just broke up, right? It was giving me Megan Fox's character not coming back in Dark of the Moon. It's like, well, yeah, they broke up. He's got a new girlfriend now. Like it felt like that, where it's like, you know what, Natalie Portman doesn't seem to want to be in these movies. Her character wasn't that great anyway. We're moving on, right? Maybe he'll get another romantic interest down the line. And I thought maybe it could have been Valkyrie, but seemingly not. But she's back now. They have this, they're really marketing the movie with it. It's been in both trailers. And you had the whole thing where they announced it at Comic Con, like giving her Mjolnir and all that. And there's never been a point where I feel like Natalie Portman wants to be here or wants to do any of this. And it's really showing in her performance from what I can see from this trailer. Look, you can want to defend her all you want to because you want to give it like, show it to the sexists and things like that. And there are people who are outrage grifters making videos about it, MCU and all that. And obviously, I don't care for that kind of stuff and I don't agree with it. But I do this to be honest, right? I didn't get into this to get into some nonsense culture war, pick a side, not like bullshit. So I gotta be honest, I don't care for Jane Foster as Thor. I don't care for Jane Foster being in this movie. I don't really care for their romance. I don't care. I didn't care for the character before. I don't care for her now. She should be at least a little bit more interesting because you get to see her do cool stuff with the powers. But like I said, how does Mjolnir come back together? What has she been doing all this time? Has she had Mjolnir these years ever since it's been broken? Did her and the other scientists like find it when it was broken and somehow put it back together, and that's why she has it? I mean, I don't know what's going on what I assume is Earth when they first meet back up again, and she's fighting with him against whatever's going on there. What's going on there, and how does that have to do with the overall plot? I mean, it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like a natural progression of the story. That's something that you have to deal with when you have an overall universe like this. It's not just Thor 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also every movie that Thor has been in, and even the movies he hasn't been in, they're still part of his overall story because he's part of this universe. So when you have a character that hasn't been in movies for years and have barely been mentioned, it's kind of weird that you all of a sudden make that a big romantic plot point of them coming back together or potentially coming back together. It's like Doctor Strange 2, which I did not like, right? Which has a lot of writing issues, where all of a sudden Christine Palmer is a big deal. It's like, really? Why wasn't she all this time? You never even mentioned her. She was barely even a thing in the first Doctor Strange movie. But now, once again, you have this movie, and once again, we're forcing this romance back down people's throats. I mean, like, Natalie Portman's performance in this trailer does not look good, right? There's never a point in this where she seems like she cares. She's giving me Jennifer Lawrence from the X-Men movies. She doesn't seem like she cares at all about this, or that she even wants to be there. She put on some muscle. I don't think she has CG arms or whatever the hell's going around. She did legitimately put on some muscle and put on some weight. But that's because that's her job. It's a check. At the end of the day, she does not seem like she even wants to be in this. So for you to make that such a big point in this, and then also that she's, I guess, going to be Thor going forward instead of Chris Hemsworth, I guess, regardless of what people want to say, I feel like most people won't really care for that. Like, let's be real about it. Like, I don't care about all this, this arguing back and forth about MCU and all this other stuff. And people might have liked that storyline in the comic books where she has cancer. But I don't know if that's going to be involved here. But it just doesn't. It doesn't look good, man. I think the Jane Foster thing is a problem. I think it's an issue. The best thing you could have done if you were going to involve her is recast her, because Natalie Portman is just not going to be good at this. This is the most I've seen her not care, at least from the trailer. Obviously, I'll give the movie a chance. I'm still looking forward to it. But yeah, this is the most uninterested I've seen her be in a movie. I wanted to get that off my chest because I've been thinking about that ever since they announced it. And it's like, why? Why? But anyway, that's all I really had to talk about with the Thor trailer. The second, I think, Thor Love and Thunder trailer. I'm pretty sure this is the second one. I could be wrong. It came out like a week ago or something like that? And I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's it. That's the trailer. We're done.